Hey yo, who was gonna tell me that there was a fucking lawsuit being filed against the United States in America? 77 groups worldwide backed genocide lawsuit against Biden in U.S. court. The Biden administration is due in federal court later this month, while Israel faces charges of genocide at The Hague this week. Dozens of legal and civil society organizations from around the world have thrown their weight behind a U.S. lawsuit accusing President Joe Biden, Secretary of State Antony Blinken, and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin for failing to prevent an unfolding genocide in Gaza. In late December, 77 groups representing tens of thousands of lawyers, civil society leaders, and activists from 6 continents, bitch, 6, that means every single one but Antarctica, filed an amicus brief in a lawsuit that Palestinian human rights organizations, residents of Gaza, and U.S. citizens with family members impacted by Israel's ongoing assault brought against the Biden administration. In the amicus brief, which is an avenue for groups not directly involved in a lawsuit to give the court information to consider in its ruling, the organizations argue that the plaintiffs established that a genocide or serious risk of genocide of Palestinians in Gaza is occurring. They also argue that the U.S. is violating its duties under international law. Phone call. But they also argue that the U.S. is violating its duties under international law to prevent and not be complicit in genocide, and that those U.S. failures contribute to the erosion of long and widely held norms of international law, including the Genocide Convention and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, both established in 1948 in the wake of World War II. The lawsuit is headed for a hearing in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California later this month. Meanwhile, in an 84-page complaint brought by South Africa, Israel faces charges of genocide at the International Court of Justice at The Hague. The court will begin to hear arguments in the case on Thursday and could issue provisional measures that could include directing Israel to suspend its military operations in Gaza, stop any procedures that are forcibly displacing or starving Palestinians in Gaza, or preserve evidence related to the allegations. The lawyers overseeing the U.S. lawsuit believe that the decisions rendered by the ICJ could indirectly impact their case as well. While the district court is obviously not bound by the ICJ, it will have to, and the government will have to, contend with the fact that the highest authority, the World Court, has issued an order in which it has found that the case of genocide there's a plausible case, said Ashtha Shamar Pakharo, staff attorney at the Center for Constitutional Rights, an organization representing plaintiffs against the U.S. It will have implications for the United States around both its failure to prevent this genocide and for its complicity. In December, the Biden administration filed a motion to dismiss the lawsuit, arguing that plaintiffs were asking the court to act beyond its purview to override the executive branch's foreign policy and national security determinations. The administration also argued that the plaintiffs don't have standing to bring the lawsuit because the court has no authority over the activities of another sovereign state. Top administration officials have been dismissive of the case before the ICJ as well, with White House National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby calling it meritless, counterproductive, and completely without any basis in fact whatsoever, and Blinken deriding it on similar terms. On Wednesday, Kirby doubled down in his assessment. Now, once again, Americans, if you are paying attention, this is our time to be hyper-focused. I didn't even know that there were going to be charges brought against the U.S. in the U.S. by all these organizations. I'm really hoping that we will be able to see a live stream somewhere. I'm going to try to see if I can get more information on exactly when the hearing is. But I think, once again, it is incredibly important that we talk about these things. We make a lot of noise about these things because the American government for far too long has been playing in the fucking faces of people around the globe. And it is time that they hear our voices and our dissent for what they are doing.